The year is 2024, a year that will be etched in the annals of American history. The United States is on the edge of its seat, with every citizen feeling the weight of this monumental decision. Donald Trump, the Republican firebrand, is facing off against Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee, in a presidential election for the ages. Both candidates have campaigned tirelessly, crisscrossing the nation to rally support. The polls are tight, the rhetoric is heated, and every vote feels like it could be the deciding factor. Voters from all walks of life have turned out in record numbers, driven by a sense of urgency and responsibility. This isn't just another election, it's a battle for the soul of America. The stakes have never been higher, and the nation is deeply polarized. From the bustling metropolises to the quiet rural towns, Americans are glued to their screens, anxiously awaiting the election results. Families gather in living rooms, friends meet in bars, and communities come together in anticipation. The tension is palpable, the excitement is electrifying, and the uncertainty is unsettling. Every update, every projection sends ripples of emotion through the crowd. This isn't just a contest between two candidates, it's a clash of ideologies, a referendum on the direction of the nation. Conversations in coffee shops, debates in town halls, and discussions at dinner tables reflect the nation's divided sentiments. As the night wears on, the results trickle in, painting a picture of a deeply divided nation. News anchors and political analysts work tirelessly to interpret the data, offering insights and predictions. State after state flips back and forth between red and blue, keeping the entire country on tenterhooks. The electoral map becomes a battleground, with each state representing a crucial piece of the puzzle. The impossible seems to be unfolding before our very eyes, a dead heat. The nation watches in disbelief as the numbers remain neck and neck. Could this election really be coming down to the wire, to a scenario most Americans haven't even considered? The possibility of a tie or a contested result looms large. The possibility, however remote, sends shockwaves through the nation. People are left wondering what the future holds and how the country will navigate this unprecedented situation. The very foundation of American democracy, the peaceful transfer of power, seems to hang in the balance. The world watches as the United States grapples with this critical moment. The world watches with bated breath as the United States grapples with an unprecedented political scenario. Allies and adversaries alike are keenly observing, understanding that the outcome will have global ramifications. To understand the gravity of this situation, we need to understand the Electoral College, that unique American invention that adds an extra layer of complexity to our presidential elections. Established by the Founding Fathers, the Electoral College was designed to balance the influence of populous states against smaller ones. Forget about the popular vote for a moment, though it does hold weight in each state. The popular vote determines which candidate wins the electoral votes in each state. But it's the electoral votes that ultimately decide the presidency. What matters most in this system are the electoral votes. Each state has a certain number of these votes, which are allocated based on its population. Think of the United States as a giant chessboard. Each state is a square on that board with a certain number of electoral votes assigned to it based on its population. Each state is a square on that board with a certain number of electoral votes assigned to it based on its population. The bigger the state, the more electoral votes it gets. The bigger the state, the more electoral votes it gets. California, for example, is a powerhouse with 55 electoral votes. California, for example, is a powerhouse with 55 electoral votes, while Wyoming, with its much smaller population, has just 3. This disparity means that candidates must strategize carefully, focusing their efforts on states with more electoral votes. It's like a game of strategy where the candidates are vying for control of these all-important squares. They must decide where to campaign, where to spend their resources, and which states to prioritize. To win the presidency, a candidate needs to secure a majority of the 538 electoral votes up for grabs, which means they need at least 270. This majority is crucial and often leads to intense competition in key battleground states, which means they need at least 270. These battleground states can swing either way, making them the focal points of election campaigns. It's a winner-takes-all system in most states, meaning the candidate who wins the most votes in a state usually gets all of that state's electoral votes. This can lead to situations where the overall popular vote does not reflect the electoral outcome, meaning the candidate who wins the most votes in a state usually gets all of that state's electoral votes. This system, while designed to ensure that all states have a voice in choosing the president, can sometimes lead to a candidate winning the presidency without winning the popular vote. This has happened several times in American history, most recently in the 2016 election, can sometimes lead to a candidate winning the presidency without winning the popular vote. This happened in 2016 when Donald Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton, but won the presidency by securing the required 270 electoral votes. This happened in 2016 when Donald Trump lost the popular vote to Hillary Clinton, but won the presidency by securing the required 270 electoral votes. This outcome sparked debates about the fairness and relevance of the Electoral College in modern times. An electoral tie is a rare occurrence in American history. It's happened only a handful of times, most notably in 1800 and 1824. But in this hyper-partisan, deeply divided political climate, could it happen again? Could Trump and Harris be locked in a stalemate, each with 269 electoral votes? The possibility, while statistically improbable, is not entirely out of the question. Imagine a scenario where the electoral map is split right down the middle, with both candidates winning an equal number of states and electoral votes. Imagine the tension, the uncertainty, the constitutional crisis that would ensue. A tie would throw the country into uncharted territory, testing the very fabric of American democracy. It would be a political earthquake, shaking the nation to its core and leaving everyone wondering what happens now. The answer, thankfully, lies within the pages of the US Constitution, that sacred document that has guided the nation through thick and thin for over 2 centuries. Section 4, the Constitution's Plan B. The Founding Fathers, in their infinite wisdom, anticipated the possibility of an electoral tie and devised a plan to resolve it. They knew that the future could bring unforeseen challenges and wanted to ensure the stability of the nation. The 12th Amendment, ratified in 1804, lays out a clear and concise procedure for such a scenario, ensuring that the country doesn't descend into chaos. This amendment was a direct response to the electoral tie of 1800 between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, which highlighted the need for a more structured process. It's like having a backup generator for when the power goes out, a safety net for when the unexpected happens. Just as a generator kicks in to keep the lights on, the 12th Amendment ensures the continuity of government. According to the 12th Amendment, if no presidential candidate receives a majority of the electoral votes, the decision of who becomes the next president falls to the House of Representatives. This process is designed to be a fair and democratic way to resolve an electoral impasse. It's a sudden death over time, a political pressure cooker where each state delegation gets a single vote to determine the winner. The stakes are incredibly high and the atmosphere is charged with tension and anticipation. But here's the twist. It's not a simple headcount of all the representatives. Instead, the vote is taken by state delegations, which adds a layer of complexity and strategy to the process. Each state delegation gets one vote, regardless of its size. This means that the influence of each state is equalized in this specific context, making the process unique and intriguing. This means that a state like California, with its 53 representatives, has the same voting power as a state like Wyoming with its single representative. The balance of power shifts dramatically, giving smaller states a significant voice. It's a system that gives smaller states a disproportionate amount of power in this particular scenario. This design ensures that every state, regardless of its population, has a say in the final decision, reflecting the Founding Fathers' intent to balance the interests of both large and small states. Section 5. The House decides, the Senate selects. While the House of Representatives grapples with the momentous task of choosing the president, the Senate is entrusted with selecting the vice president. This time, each senator gets an individual vote, making it a more straightforward process than the House vote. Imagine the drama unfolding in the hallowed halls of Congress. The House, deeply divided along party lines, locked in a bitter battle to elect the next leader of the free world. The Senate, equally polarized, wrestling with the responsibility of choosing the vice president. The weight of the nation's future rests on the shoulders of these elected officials, their every move scrutinized by a nation on edge. It's a situation fraught with tension, intrigue, and the potential for political maneuvering.